Good morning, everybody. This is Eureka John, Eureka Street Crypto Hub. It is well before the butt crack of dawn on February 9th, 2021. And today we are going to talk about the Quant Network and the Overledger as well, which is part of the Quant Network. Yep, it is a good morning. I'm awake, so hey, here I am. If you know anything about me, you know that sometimes I just do news and do quick little shows like that, and then other times I get fully into one specific project. So this is one of those episodes where I'm going to cover specifically the Quant Network. There is a lot of stuff going on in crypto right now, but today I'm just going to focus on Quant Network. And I like to do this. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me researching projects. Just because I talk about a project doesn't mean I'm invested in it or have anything to do with it. Actually, I am invested in Quant though. Generally, most of the projects I talk about, I do have a little bag of at least. But I'm definitely not sponsored by anybody, that's for sure. I don't have any sponsors. Nobody wants to take me on, and I'm okay with that. And I do everything in one take. So if I say any uhs or ahs or say anything completely out of left field or inaccurate, well, that's on me, because I'm just not editing this, and this is what I do. This is my little time in the morning to get things done before the rest of the house wakes up and before I have to make my hour commute to work there and back, and then be a dad, an employee, a husband, and all that stuff. So yep, here I am, cryptocurrency analyst, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. So Quant Network. Quant Network is an interesting token because Quant Network is, well, let's start with what it's not. It's not a blockchain. Quant Network is an operating system in a way. A lot of people like to call it the HTTP of blockchain. And if you don't know what HTTP is, it's Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And it is website addresses, how you get to a website, and that's the protocol to get there. Well, Overledger, it's not the same. A particularist or anybody who actually works with computers for a living would argue that they are absolutely nothing alike, and that the REST API and the REST protocol is nothing like HTTP protocol. But don't get particular and professional with me. I'm just trying to do broad strokes here. So Quant is basically the web address of blockchain, and it is an overledger that connects all different types of blockchains. And right now in blockchain technology, there are two major topics that a lot of projects are trying to solve. One of those is privacy, and I just did Secret Network last week on that project, and that's a video you should watch if you're interested in privacy on the blockchain. And then two is interoperability, which is what Quant covers. And the problem is a lot of these blockchains have their own way of doing things, their own specializations. Like Bitcoin specializes in security, but it sacrifices speed. It's also one of the original ones. A blockchain like Solana focuses specifically on speed. So what if you could harness the speed of Solana with the security of Bitcoin, and then put it on top of another platform, like a payment platform, to be able to use? Well, you got something that can do that. That's Overledger. And a lot of these corporations don't have they have the money, a lot of them, but they don't have the time. They don't want to hire some type of professional staff in order to be programmers. They don't want to completely overhaul their infrastructure and in order to implement blockchain into their companies. So Quant Network is a possible solution for this. And in a way too, the blockchain world is divided into a lot of tribalism, and a lot of people have these certain ideals, and they attach themselves to blockchains and to projects like teams. And with the lack of sports, obviously, with all this COVID stuff going on, it only seems natural that a lot of people being stuck at home, have first, one, gotten into the stock market, and two, have gotten into cryptocurrency. And then a lot of people attach themselves to these projects. And me, yes, I'm kind of a libertarian, so that's what really attracted me to blockchain. But you have some of these more libertarian chains like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Cardano, decentralization for everybody. And you have kind of the banker tokens over here. You have XRP, or Ripple, the company. And then you have Stellar, XLM, the token. And you have Quant, which is kind of a banker's project. What they're trying to cater to is, for the large part, a lot of the banking industry, even though they're also trying to get larger clients. And as you can see here, Quant is right here up at the top. It's the Overledger. And you have the Overledger network. And you have all these different ways in which you can get these networks to all speak to each other. And if they didn't have the Overledger network, it would be very difficult for them to incorporate some kind of protocols or programming or whatnot in order to be able to get all these entities to talk to each other. In technical terms, Quant Overledger network is a scalable peer-to-peer network with layer 2 payment channels, enterprise and institutional multi-grade multi-chain oracles, connect any network to any network at scale without overhead or limits, treaty contracts, deploy, query, and execute multi-chain smart contracts. I'll come back to that in a second. Create applications that deploy and connect across multiple blockchains. So first of all, you can get multiple very different blockchains to speak to each other. For instance, the JP Morgan bank blockchain, Quorum, can talk to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the ultimate decentralized anti-banker type of blockchain, and you have JP Morgan, the epitome of a private banking blockchain. How are they supposed to talk to each other? Well, they can talk to each other through Overledger. And so JP Morgan doesn't have to completely overhaul their entire banking system and blockchain system in order to implement Bitcoin into their system. So anyway, treaty contracts, deploy, query, and execute multi-chain smart contracts. You have smart contracts sitting on Ethereum. Well, how would you get if you have a smart contract between two entities, and that's sitting on Ethereum, how would you get part of that smart contract to interact with some other blockchain like Corda or Bitcoin? You just really can't. So there is something called treaty contracts, which are smart contracts up on the Overledger network, and part of the smart contract might work with Corda and part of it might work with Bitcoin, and then whenever the pieces of the smart contract are triggered, they go to either Bitcoin and Corda, then they come back and meet up on the treaty contract on Overledger. So that's pretty cool. I am kind of a kid, so I like to think of things with metaphors. So here's a little image I found on Twitter, and I added myself into it because I'm an egomaniac. And so here you go. You have the Overledger as the cup, and you can pick and choose whatever blockchain you want up here, whatever type of payment service you have here. You have all types of different cloud services, and then all these other type of apps and banks and everything else down here. And you can pick and choose all different types of candies, aka services and blockchains and payment systems, and mix them all into one cup and create your own favorite mix that works best for you and your diabetes. So anyway, that's that. Let me take a quick look at the brief history of Quant Network, just so you can get an idea. There are plenty of videos that probably do a better job of explaining all this than me, but I want to get you started and get you off on the right foot. There's a great article here called Coin Bureau at coinbureau.com, and it's the review. They do a bunch of coin reviews on this website. Coinbureau.com, I love it. It's a great source for a lot of stuff. That, CoinDesk, and Cointelegraph, and anyway, the brief history of Quant Network, the interoperable blockchain operating system. So yes, it is not a blockchain. It is an operating system that sits on top of blockchain. Think of Windows that sits on top of computer programs, or computer programs built on Windows, whatever. You have an operating system built on top of blockchains, and you have Gilbert Verdion. He is a very distinguished gentleman. He has an amazing career. He's done 10 times more with his life than me, and He's held prestigious positions at companies like Ernst & Young, HSBC, BP Oil, PricewaterhouseCoopers. He's worked, I believe, for the Federal Reserve. He's worked with Her Majesty's Treasury and the UK Ministry of Justice, the Bank of England, and even the Federal Reserve. In 2015, Gilbert helped found the blockchain ISO standard TC307, which I don't know what that is. I guess I could look that up here, which I'm not going to now because I promised myself not to go down a rabbit hole. It's now used by almost 60 countries around the world to guide their blockchain development. So this is the dude right now. He goes around speaking. He's preaching the Quant Network. A lot of people are listening to him. He's developing huge partnerships. For instance, this past year, I believe, Saya just joined on with them, and Saya is a point of sale payment system that is mainly over in Europe, but it's worldwide, and this is huge for them. They've had partnerships with Alpha Sigma Capital, investing in blockchain financial operating system, delivers interoperability of private DLTs, aka blockchains, and public blockchains across hundreds of banks and financial institutions. So yeah, there's some really good partnerships. As you can see down here in Twitter, you just do the $ and QNT and go into Twitter, and you can find a bunch of different stuff. I saw one tweet that showed a bunch of their partnerships here. Let's see if I can scroll down to it real quick. There's where I got this graphic that I just showed you. Of course, I can't seem to find it right now, but that's the story of my life. Anyway, this graphic right here will help explain Metcalfe's law and how Quant thinks of itself in a way, of it being an overledger. Metcalfe's law is the value of a network is the square of itself. So you have all these nodes, one telephone to another telephone. I don't think even my daughter would even know what a telephone that looks like this is. I got my kombucha tea here in the morning, waking me up. But you have two telephones. The value of their network is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 telephones. The value of their network is 25. Then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 12 telephones here, and the value of that network between all telephones is 144. So one telephone can connect to 11 other telephones, and that creates the value of that network. And the larger the network grows, the more valuable it is. There are some criticisms to this model, but this is what Quant rests on. A lot of large macroeconomic theorists like Raoul Powell and stuff have said that from now on they're going to place any value of their investments on top of anything that is based on Metcalfe's law. Let's see here. Here's Gilbert Verdion's Twitter page. I follow him just to keep on the DL of what's going on. Luke Riley, he's the head of innovation at Quant. He just spoke at the big Binance blockchain week, which I listened to a little bit of that. I didn't listen to this one. I need to go back and see if I can find it. Yeah, these are people you can follow on Twitter. This guy, All In Quant, he's a good one to follow here. He posts some really relevant stuff about Quant because he's all in Quant. This one I found on Crypto SEQ. Let's take a quick look at what Raoul Powell has to say.
Interesting things that we see building, like that kind of interoperability of platforms. How are you going to build the layer that allows everything to connect? So again, the macro guys are trying to figure, we live in the future. Our job is to see where the future state is and then try and make bets accordingly. So when we're looking at that, we're saying, okay, we can see Ethereum, Bitcoin, private tokens, different ledgers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, where's that all going? It's not just a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin's going up world. It's okay, this is a fantastically complicated new system that all needs to work together. It's like Apple and Microsoft and mobile phones and modems and in different countries with different broadband standards and different spectrum. How the hell does it all work? None of us know. But I can send you a text from my phone to you or an email, and we don't know any of the rest. That all is going to get built here. So the infrastructure, that next layer down, is super interesting. where it's not sexy, but it'll change the world.
And, Raoul Powell, love him or hate him, he's got a point. The infrastructure is not sexy, but it's what's going to change the world. It's what TCP/IP did for the internet. It's what blockchain is doing for the rest of the world. And it's what a lot of these protocol-based projects are doing for blockchain. And this right here, the Overledger, is creating the HTTP protocol for the blockchain. And so it's going to connect all these blockchains and make it usable for a lot of large businesses. Let's take a quick look at their website here. Here it goes. Pull it up. Come on now. Their website's pretty clean, pretty self-explanatory, universal interoperability, enterprise-oriented, fit for the future, blah, blah, blah. What Overledger can do for your business. So this is all very business-focused. This is not for the millennial programmer trying to create something for his NFT card collection. This is very business focused. I kind of wonder, with all this interoperability and them trying to make blockchains workable for large corporations and businesses and things from banking to supply chain to payment services and all types of stuff, how would that compete with something like Unibright and the baseline protocol? I don't know. Is it? Anyway, that's it. Answer a question in the comments if you think it might be competitive with the baseline protocol or work with it. So we don't know. Baseline protocol is basically a set of standards for privacy on the blockchain, so corporations can be able to use the public blockchain in a private manner. So I did another video on that, or you can just look at the baseline protocol. But anyway, here we go. Join the Quant community. Let's see here. For developers, so there has to be somebody to develop these, not really programs, because it's not really based on any type of program, but you have to be able to create apps and APIs for all these blockchain, to be able to connect to all these blockchains. And how do you do that? You become a developer for them and you log in to their dashboard right here, and you create a gateway or you create an API and you get your API keys here, and you create a wallet. All the code and everything for Quant Network is proprietary, so you can't really see the specifics of how it works. You do have to know how to make a RESTful API, and here's API. And what is REST? REST is an acronym for representational state transfer. It's an architectural style for distributed hypermedia systems and was first presented by Roy Fielding in 2000 in his famous dissertation. So REST is almost like HTTP, but it's not. HTTP is a URL, Universal Resource Locator. REST based on URI, Universal Resource Indicator, or identifier, Universal Resource Identifier. It identifies the parts of the blockchain or the places on the blockchain that it needs to address, and via the smart contracts. And then here it just shows the guiding principles: the client server, stateless, cacheable, uniform interface, layered system, code on demand. Here down here, hypertext or hypermedia means a simultaneous presentation of information and controls such that the information becomes the affordance through which the user automaton obtains choices and selects actions. Remember that hypertext does not need to be HTML on a browser. Machines can follow links when they understand the data format and relationship types. So this is not quite like HTTP in that it's not just specifically made for a person on a browser. Machines can also work with this and follow the links to the resources that they need. And then it branches out to how to design these for the people that are interested in working on this developer platform that I just showed you right here. There's all the steps in designing these REST protocol type of models here. It looks a lot like XML. I'm not a programmer or a developer, so all this kind of It looks vaguely familiar because I know just enough to do some damage, and that's about it. Anyway, let's look at some of these other articles here. Some recent news. Quant launches Overledger, release 1.5, enabling mainnet interoperability. So as of January 29th, it went on the mainnet, which is huge news. There's a lot of big partnerships going on. So it could account for the reason that Quant has been just shooting up in value. Let's look at the 180-day chart. Here we go. Bam, right there. I got in right about there, right about the bottom. Well, not really the bottom, but let's look at 1 year here real quick. So yeah, it's been slowly just kind of going sideways, and then as of recently it's shot up. I think 2021 is going to be huge with everything going on with the World Economic Forum, with all the COVID stuff, with the blockchain boom, the cryptocurrency boom, and everything, the devaluation of the dollar and everything moving to cryptocurrency. I did find a white paper on it. It was really hard to find this white paper. It's actually, they don't even call it a white paper, they call it a business paper, because a white paper a lot of times is for blockchain projects. All the links that were on their website to a white paper were broken, so I had to do some digging to find this white paper. So go to whitepaper.io and you can search for the Quant business paper. Here they are, the executive summary, the problem of single chain dApps and the OS for multi-chain dApps or maps. So the difference between a dApp and a map is a dApp is a decentralized application. It's basically a website or an app on your phone or whatever, or anything that's connected to the blockchain via some kind of wallet. That is a decentralized app. That's all it is. It sounds more complicated than it is, but it's basically a website that's connected to a wallet. Yeah, it's not complicated. A map is a website or an application that's connected to multiple blockchains, not just one blockchain, and that's connected to the Overledger that's connected to multiple blockchains. So that is a map, and that's what they're trying to make. So here, the potential use of blockchains are seemingly limitless. The world's smart cities, new industries 4.0, and tech startups are using blockchain for everything from global payments to music sharing. It's predicted in the next few years, much of our digital consumption and footprint will be run via blockchain foundations without us even realizing it. According to World Economic Forum, by 2027, 10% of global GDP value will be built on blockchain applications. However, in order for blockchain technologies to truly offer endless possibilities, we need to enable applications to function across multiple blockchains, not be limited to any single vendor or technology, allow for the exchange of data across multiple blockchains, and this includes the recognitions of transactions related to changes of ownership, for on and off chain assets, and obligations/rights arising from smart contracts across different blockchains. Overledger is a blockchain operating system providing the ability to distribute value and applications across both current and future blockchains without being limited to a single technology or method. That's all it is. They're basically just trying to create a patchwork quilt to connect all these different blockchains and payment services and cloud services and banking companies and other large corporations, supply chains, and all that type of stuff into one big patchwork quilt. And they're using the Overledger to do that. It's interesting that they reference the World Economic Forum, because that is exactly what the World Economic Forum is trying to do. In a way, act as kind of a de facto default world government. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on this. This is not the place for me to say my opinion on this, but they're trying to incorporate smart cities and implement blockchain technology and a shared economy for the entire world through artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things, which is basically millions of tiny receivers and transmitters gathering big data in order to accumulate it and then do things with that data via artificial intelligence in order to govern and create a sharing economy in which nobody owns anything. In a way, it's basically like communism, but with a little bit of technology icing on it. If you want, they even quote Marx in here. So I read this whole thing. So they give a timeline, and by 2027, 10% of the world's GDP will be on the Bitcoin and blockchain. Let's go down here to page 24. I mean, this is all right here. It's all public, folks. There's no conspiracy theory about it. So, smart cities, big data for decisions, driverless cars, artificial intelligence and decision making, AI and white collar jobs going out the window, robotics and services. And here's Bitcoin and blockchain. Bitcoin and digital currencies are based on the idea of a distributed trust mechanism called the blockchain, a way of keeping track of trusted transactions in a distributed fashion. Currently, the total worth of Bitcoin and the blockchain is around 20 billion, and this was a while back now. It's like in the trillions, I believe. They give the positive impacts. They don't seem to talk about anything negative on any of these, really. Of course, because they're trying to push their ideas. And so, interesting stuff. I read the whole thing. I recommend you do it as well. And you can see where everything's going. And in light of COVID, it just seems like perfect timing to have a pandemic right when they want to roll all this stuff out and not being a conspiracy theorist. Anyway, the white paper here. So the white paper is pretty good. It's pretty easy to understand. They give some graphics that show all the different layers of the protocol. There's the multi-apps here, the filtering ordering layer, the messaging layer, the peer-to-peer networks, and then here's all the different blockchain protocols. The multi-apps go over that, and the Overledger spans across all these, and then here's the good old internet. And then it gets into here some more technical stuff about all the different parties involved, the software development kits, and the blockchain programming interfaces, which is right here. That's the BPI, the blockchain, I believe. And then here's the business model. They want to create an app store that is kind of like your Google Play Store or your Apple Store that will make all the apps available, and developers will be able to put their apps on there, and they can choose how they want to charge, and it'll all be paid for with Quant tokens or with dollars or whatever currency is, but there would be an underlying layer that would transfer all that to Quant tokens. So it would be working on a Quant token ecosystem. If you're kind of wondering where I was going to actually bring in how the Quant token is being implemented in all this, and how do you have a token without a blockchain? Well, this is how you use a token to pay for the service. Whether or not you're actually using the token and you're using dollars, you're still using the token, but the actual protocol and the system underneath that payment system would be transferring everything to Quant tokens via right here these wallets, and that sometimes would be under the hood. But there's several different models in which developers can make money. By the freemium model, users don't pay to download, but they can pay to get access to additional sets of features. That happens all the times in games you download on your phone. You get to play some crappy little game, but if you really want to play it, you got to start paying up. There's the paid model, subscription model, the in-app model. Quant software as a service products, so they're doing more than just the Overledger. They're making their money by software as a service through this app store, through enterprise and middleware products, and they'll deliver blockchain products and solutions and smart contracts for clients who either use or considering implementing blockchain technology into their businesses, and kind of just showing them how to set it all up and making that as kind of a service for them. So that's how they're making money. Then they have patents on a lot of this stuff. I don't know specifically the parts of it that they have patents on, but there are a lot of patents involved in this technology, and that's how they will be making money as well, being the only dog in this game. It's a huge ambitious project. This project for them to completely transform society and create some kind of overledger that works as the de facto standard for all these blockchains to be able to talk to each other, and all these companies and services and economies and networks. It's basically the network of networks, and trying to get all them to talk to each other under one patchwork quilt type of agreement called the Overledger is a huge undertaking. Luckily, I think Gilbert Verdion is probably the one qualified for the job, as you saw from his qualifications that I went over earlier. But that is also kind of a criticism. Is it too big? If it takes off and you have some quant tokens, they're going to be worth some money. If it flops, then you're stuck with some quant tokens. I don't know. I do have a bag of quant. I'm more into DeFi myself, and I love the entire take the bank out of the equation. But I also have to be a realist and hedge my bets, and I will also own some bankers tokens. So this is a great way to hedge my bet without having to be involved with Ripple that's going all over the place right now and being severely unpredictable. So tokenomics. So they did launch originally, I believe, about 31 million tokens. In late 2019, they burned about half of them. So I think there's about 14.6 tokens left. So they go through all that. The tokenomics here is QNT is a quant token ticker. They did have a token sale at the beginning, and they did have a token allocation. But let's take a look at what the supply is currently, and let me refresh this. It's at $41.43 right now, which is huge. The all-time high, it was earlier this morning, about 3 hours ago, at $43.18. So it is doing the best that it's ever done. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, so market cap 508 million, not bad. Circulating supply is 12,363,000 out of max supply is 4,612,493. So it is almost sold out. There's just a couple million left. So just be probably not a financial advisor, but it'd be a good time to buy, I bet, if that's what you're into. So speaking of buying, where can you get Quant Network? I got mine on Uniswap. The problem with me being in Texas is I don't have access to places like Binance or Huobi or anything like that. I don't know, some regulatory deal. So I have to use Uniswap, or Simple Swap is another one that I use in order to find tokens that generally are only available through Binance. Although I don't think that this token is available through Binance. I saw that a lot of people are trying to push Binance to get a listing. Here's Quampy Man, can we get a listing now? That's what I was able to find about where to get Quant. There are some really good YouTubers. They have their own YouTube channel, although the last time they updated their channel was 4 months ago with just a little quick propaganda video. But there are some YouTubers that do some pretty good analysis on it. Guy at Coin Bureau is always a really good go-to for people who are just trying to learn about a token without getting into the super particulars of it. He's an amazing YouTuber and goes over a bunch of different tokens, and his criticisms is it's too big, it's not really available on any reputable exchanges, which I don't know why. Why don't exchanges want to have the Quant token on their available on there? Why doesn't Coinbase or Binance or any of these other large ones? So it's kind of a red flag, but I don't know. Maybe they have their reasoning for that. Let's see, Kevin and Cage, he's a Ripple guy, XRP, but he is also invested in Quant Network. That's what I've been finding, is a lot of the XRP guys really like Quant Network as well. And then down here we have Altcoin Buzz. They did 2 videos about Quant Network. They did one 8 months ago and did the whole foundation of Quant Network and just explaining it, some price prediction and some criticism. And then they did a follow-up video 3 months ago. Both these videos are very good and explain it very well. I would definitely recommend you checking out the Altcoin Buzz videos. And then Blockchain Brad also did Quant Network. And let's see here. Blockchain Brad Laurie. I follow him on Twitter as well. He did it a year ago. He interviewed Gilbert Verdion. Apparently he's friends with the guy. But these are really good interviews with Gilbert Verdion to get a kind of a feel for him and his team and his vision and what he's trying to do. So that's one thing you should do on your research, is always investigate the team and the founder, and make sure that they're solid. So that's very important. I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to get to about Quant Network on this very superficial, broad strokes look at Quant. Yeah, with that, I'm just gonna go on with my day. Look up these guys, go check them out, and find Luke Riley as well. All in Quant, follow him. There's the Quant Network, follow their Twitter. They don't really have much of a Telegram, so there's not some kind of hardcore community that I know about unless it's on Discord or something. They're very businessy. They're on LinkedIn. I follow them on LinkedIn, and it's about all I got today. You guys have a good day, and I will talk to you later. I will probably do a news stream at some point. Okay, bye. Yes, I want to stop recording.